Telling you what, wit, unbelievable. Okay, we're going to start with the oldest, Tio Jose Feliciano Medina. He must have been a predecessor of the National Rifle Association, because as soon as the parents went to town, Jose would start shooting up the cans, fences, and even the chickens. I told you he was witty. He passed away in 1984 in Pueblo. Next was Tio Alberto Ignacio, who wanted to go into the well drilling business way before the ways of the modern electric augers. Well, it seems that Alberto started to dig a well. He went deeper and deeper until he could almost hear Chinese music. So when did he realize he'd gone too far? He dug so deep that he couldn't get out and needed some help from his brother. He was 90 years old. Is he still? Yeah. So, yes. And then Tio Macario Medina had ambitions to play the violin as well as his Tio Ruben. He died in 1989 as well.
Okay, then we have Marie Remigia. What a name. You want to stand up at Marie? As she was lighting the matches, she replied, "Son relámpagos." Tia Stella, you want to stand? Claims she saw the devil behind a tree. Perhaps she did see the devil himself, or maybe she just thought it was. It might have been some young man calling on some of the many beautiful Medina women. My mom, Manuelita, would you stand? The only comb in the house to school and forgot it there. What were the others to use when the community comb was unavailable? Did they straight go to school the next day because she was punished, but the community comb did finally return? Okay, Olivia. Agustin.
Then there was Tio Agustin, known by everyone as El Caldo, because he was always barefoot. If anyone in the family needed to know any secrets, they would go to him, and he would tell all those secrets. Next is Tia Lala. Come on. To start the fire, she collected a lot of kindling and hid it. She also combed her hair with a fork the day Manuelita took her comb to school. Tia Dolores, when it was time to do the dishes.
Okay, Tia Melina had a beautiful voice, and she was also good at memorizing her lessons. She passed away in 1953 in Santa Fe, but we're still enjoying the music of the Ortegas later this afternoon and in church today. Tio Ted. No, Tio Ted died in 1992 in Santa Fe, but Tio Ted was of everyone in tricks. Like some of the others who would hide the kindling or hide themselves when it was time to do chores, Ted would cry whenever it was time to herd the sheep, hoping to get out of that chore. For that reason, some of the kids called him El Llorón. And Clara. And sometimes started to cry. It seems that the limited utensils of the table, utensils didn't always make it to her end of the table. After some sniffing, some of the family asked her what was wrong, and she answered a single word, which has been remembered for several decades. And what is that word? Cuchara. Tio Jr. Here I am. Okay. Jose D. Jr. was a fast one. He grabbed a spoon before they were all taken, and he was known as the fastest tortilla grabber in the West. And Frances. One, and she often took the blame for any misbehavior of the others.
When our parents were young, they gathered around a huge table and ate their meals together. This was before the days of TV. That's why they had so many kids, too. Once his grandpa, Demetrio, bowed his head as he was saying grace, several of the children, thinking he wouldn't notice, help themselves to a pile of tortillas. Grandma remembered that and had some choice words to say about it. Al demonio con las tortillas. Somehow our parents and tios and tias survived their childhoods. Imagining some of these antics makes me wish we still lived in those times. It makes me glad so many of you are here to share some of these stories. Thanks.
Well, I'd just like everyone to just bow your heads and just be real quiet for a moment.
Está en sus manos, hay que enseñarles vivir como hermanos. No tienen, no, si ellos no nos tienen confianza, y que se la de nosotros, si nos pierden la confianza, ellos merecen un mundo firme y seguro, pero si nos alejamos, ¿qué será de su futuro? El futuro del mundo está en los niños, hay que enseñarles amor y cariño. El futuro del mundo está en sus manos, hay que enseñarles vivir como hermanos, hay que enseñarles vivir como hermanos. José Jr. and es Padre Querido. Padre querido, me han olvidado en las canciones que se han escrito a una madre. La madre es buena y tiene cariño, pero si hay penas no hay quien comprenda como el Padre. Hoy yo te canto con todo el alma, quiero que sepa el mundo entero que sin mi Padre la vida no vale nada. Siempre estás listo para escucharme y de tus labios vienen consejos que quitan las penas. Le besas a no te pongas a llorar, ella sola va a saber. No la ruegues, corazón, pongas a llorar, que hoy vas a recibir.
Let me get your
Well, they started to build it in 1760 by 12 Spanish families who came from Santa Fe. But originally they were from Spain. And it took 12 years to build it, only man work, and they used to call them the 12 Apostles. The way they built this church in the form of a cross, the walls are 5 feet thick, and the paintings were done in the 1800s by a man named Jose de Gracia Gonzalez. This man was from Chihuahua, Mexico. And these paintings haven't been touched since then. At the floor, if you notice the squares, in each square there's a grave. 63 bodies are buried here, 3 priests in the front. Also the leader of these families, his name was Juan Arguello. This man lived 112 years. He's also buried in the front. This man used to trade grain for weapons to defend his people. Because this church at one time didn't have no windows or doors. The only door they had was one upstairs. And the reason why, because of the attacks of the Comanches. Every time they attacked, the people would climb up in ladders and put the ladders up. They would battle from upstairs. Once you enter the church, on top of the ceiling, you're going to see decorations. Each member of the church did and when the church was built. And to your left, on this small room, years ago, the penitentes, the brotherhood, they used to get in there and they would flagellate themselves, penance for their sins. You're going to see the blood stains right at the door, also in the inside and top of the first 2 beams. And we still have services here, first and third Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to that road shop.
Another neighbor.
Really?
Yeah.
Say what this is, so we remember. This is the church on the Picuris reservation.